Hello and welcome to our Thursday night hangout. My name is Travis Flaherty and I am excited to be here with you this evening. We are excited because tonight we have a very special guest that's going to be joining us. We had promoted Lisa Grossman to be with us tonight, but Lisa is over in Hong Kong, and if you know their schedule, they're always running around like crazy, and so Curtis is going to be filling in for us, and he'll be joining us here in a couple of minutes. He just informed me that he's running just a couple of minutes behind. The internet wasn't working in their building, so he's running over to the office. So he'll be popping on here in just a couple of minutes, but I want to welcome you to our hangout tonight, and I want to start off by talking about something that I refer to as the foundational pillars of success. You know, in our business, the thing is, a lot of people, as they start to develop a team, they struggle trying to get others to be more productive. How many of you in your current businesses would love to be able to get people to work a little bit more, work a little harder, or perhaps put a little bit more time into their business? You know, a lot of times I hear people calling me saying, "Hey, Travis, you know what? I just don't understand. I mean, I'm running around and I'm doing all these things, and I just can't seem to get anybody else to do anything." How many of you can relate to that? And the reality is that this is not a traditional business. You can't demand performance. You've got to inspire performance. And this is one of the biggest differences between corporate America and network marketing. You know, one of my favorite sayings is that there has to be a balance of one half leadership and one half followship in this industry. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to start off tonight by giving you some foundational pillars of success. And as we go through these, what I want you to do is I want you to just ask yourself, you know, are these areas of strength for me? Are these areas of weaknesses for me? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, and we can then look at some different ideas and ways that you can improve in these areas. But, you know, first and foremost, when it comes to being a serial leader, and what I mean by serial leader is that's somebody who can take a business to unparalleled success and build massive organizations. And again, I don't want you to confuse leadership with great management skills. Okay, so what are those foundational pillars of success? Well, the first and foremost, the number one pillar of success is trust and honesty. To be persuasive, we have to be believable. And to be believable, we have to be credible. And to be credible, we've got to be truthful. You know, Trust 101, guys, is doing what you say that you will do and never deviating from that standard. You have to be in integrity at all times. You know, this is one of those areas that you just have to rank a 10 in this category. If you want to go on to build a massive business, you can be the most talented, the most knowledgeable person in the world. But if you lack integrity, character, if you lack truthfulness, if people feel like they can't trust you, if your motives aren't pure, then the reality is that people will leave you. And the other thing is the same goes for ego. The moment that you think the deal is about you, you've already lost. You know, Ed Murrow once said, to be persuasive, we must be believable. To be believable, we must be credible. And to be credible, we must be truthful. Again, you know, what a great quote. And in the end, it's character that matters, because leadership descends from great character. So never forget that. So that's number one. Number two is confidence. Do people believe that you can do what you say that you can do? Do you have confidence in yourself? And if you don't feel confident in yourself, here's the thing, others won't either. If you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else believe in you either? You know, are you the person that can take people to the promised land, from where they are to where it is that they want to go in life? You know, I put up a quote the other night, and this was a pretty bold post, and I actually had a couple of inboxes with people that had some questions about this particular post. But what I said is that, you know, most people don't fail at network marketing because they don't have the talent, because they don't have the skills. Most people fail at network marketing because they lack the belief. They lack the belief that it's possible. Most people won't go on to make $100,000. Why? Not because they don't have the skills. It's because they don't believe that it's possible. Even less people will go on to make $1 million a year in this industry. Why? Because it's too far out of stretch of what they can even vision in their mind or in their life to be a reality. So therefore, because it's not a reality, because they lack that belief, they won't even put forth the effort, they won't even put forth the time, because again, they lack that belief. Let me tell you something, the most critical element of a serial leader in this profession is the ability to have an unparalleled, an unwavering belief, not only in yourself, but where it is that you're going, right? At the end of the day, people follow people that are certain in the future. And so that's one area that you just can't falter on. And what are some things that we can do to build up our personal? It's like, what are some things that we can do to build up some personal belief? Well, first of all, personal development is at the top of the list. I ask you, what are you currently reading? What are you currently listening to? Who are you currently listening to? There's so many naysayers out there, and you don't have to go look far to find them. And so for you, you've got to protect that belief at all costs. Your belief, man, you got to protect it and keep away from anybody that challenges that belief. And that sometimes is very difficult, especially when we have some friends or family members that challenge our belief. I remember when I first got into this industry, I had some really close friends of mine that would just give me they would give me a hard time. They would tell me that, they would make fun of me for getting into the industry. I was doing one of those pyramid deals. I was, selling vitamins and pills and all these different things. And, I had to really protect myself and where I wanted to go and my dreams and my future from that, because if I would have listened to those things and I allowed those concerns of what other people thought of me, then most likely I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And what's funny about that is those same people that challenged those beliefs early on in my career have all come back and circled around now. And they've all, they've all inquired now and asked me, what is it that you do and what have you. And so what you have to understand is that you are brilliant. You are talented. Who are you not to be famous? Who are you not to be successful? Who are you not to be the person that goes on to create a multi-million-dollar business here, to go out and change people's lives? You're a child of God, and playing small, it doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about, shrinking and feeling insecure. It's when we let our light shine. Here's the deal. When we shine bright with belief, people come from miles just to catch a glimpse. And as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that's number two. Number three is to create the dream, the vision. A leader, they've got to have a crystal clear vision of the future, and then they work it backwards. They've got to inspire confidence in others. Every single person within the organization has to subscribe to being a leader. And this is hard because a lot of people, they look for leadership. They look to leadership, but they don't consider themselves to be leaders. And here's what I teach people is that, you've got to stop looking for leadership, and you've got to start being the leader, even if it's just an organization of one. What you have to understand is you're still a leader of one, leader of many. If you can't lead one, you can't lead any. And it all comes back to being able to lead yourself first before you lead anybody else. So you've got to have a clear vision. You've got to subscribe to the fact that you are a leader, and you've got to inspire confidence in others. And, every single person within this organization, everybody that's watching this presentation right now, you got to subscribe to being a leader. You've got to take ownership of the vision for those that you lead, even if it's just yourself. And a serial leader is successful in planting the seeds of success in their team, and then leading that team to go on and achieve their goals. And I'm going to pause there for just a second because I'm getting a little bit of chatter over here that looks like Curtis is trying to get on, and I want to make sure that he's got the right link here. So let's see if I can get this link over to him. Let's see if this works. All right, gotta love technical stuff that goes on here. So I'm going to pop back on here now. So that's number three is you got to create the dream. You got to have the vision. And number four is you got to be the dream merchant. The leader must sell the dream and encourage the team to hang on for the duration. The leader's got to kindle the flame and the spark every step along the way, because a serial leader, you can't teeter-totter. You can't believe one day and then question the next. You have got to be the dream merchant. Isn't that right, Curtis?
That's absolutely correct. If you are not the dream merchant, then you are the dream stealer.
You know what, brother? I can't hear you.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Can you hear me though? Is it okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you perfectly.
Well, I wonder if it's my computer, Curtis. I wonder if anybody else can hear you. Let's turn on the chat and see if other people can hear you. Maybe it's my problem. Let's see here. Let's, Colin, if you're on, if you wouldn't mind just inboxing me here real quick and letting me know. But Curtis, maybe it's my problem, and I'm just not hearing you. So that could be a reality here. Let's see. Let me hang on one second, Curtis, real quickly. I'm going to go over and see if Colin can hear you.
Well, I guess I need to be talking. So.
All right. Sorry, folks. I appreciate everybody tuning in. You got to love technical difficulties. That's the fun part about what we do. And you know what? Sometimes the show just must go on. But I'm going to ask Colin here real quick. Can you hear?
Let's see if anybody can. Let's see if anybody can post a question in the Q&A to see if they can possibly hear me.
Looks like Curtis went all the way over to his office from his house.
David Green says I am loud and clear. So.
Internet.
So Travis, I can actually help talk to everybody, but you just won't be able to gain any benefit from it. Look at Q.
Okay.
And
so I'm getting some news here that they can hear you, Curtis. So it looks like it may be my challenge on my side. I don't know what the challenge might be, but you know what, my friend, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with my system a little bit. I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit. Tonight, what we've been talking about, just so that you know, is we've been talking a little bit about what it means to be a serial leader and the fact that you can't just go out and demand people to do things. You've got to inspire activity. And so we were just kind of going through a few different things that ultimately will inspire people to lead. And we were talking about being the dream merchant and the fact that you can't just turn off again and on again. And so that's kind of where we were at. So I'm going to, I know everybody would love to hear from you a little bit. So why don't you just say hello to everyone and let me see if I can figure out what's going on with my sound.
Sure, there you go. Well, hey gang, how's everybody doing? I'm coming to you from Hong Kong. It's about 10:14 in the morning. It's actually a beautiful sunshiny day. I'm kind of looking out across Tsim Sha Tsui and Canton Road right out towards the harbor. So it's great to come with you guys, come to you guys from here. The funny thing is you could probably then hear me last week and just Travis couldn't. So Travis and I will spend some.
I can hear you now, brother. We're good.
Oh, so in other words, all you had to do was turn on the sound. We never stopped to ask. Probably last week or whenever it was, they could all hear me, and they just go, "That's pretty funny." That's pretty hysterical. Well, I guess here's what it is. It was really kind of interesting. I don't know what it's been about the last couple of weeks, but it really has been a focus on. It's for some reason the conversations we've had with multiple teams, with you guys, and just in casual conversation, people calling us up, they're excited about what's going on, or they're frustrated if we just start talking about things. It seems to be the last month it's all come back to mindset and leadership, and we've had tons of conversations with people about the need as a leader not to direct and not to command. Don't tell others what to do what others should be doing, and then look for those who emulate your example. And I know that, and for everyone, it always comes down to there are just a few things that we do. One, we're a product of the product. Two, we share the product. Three, we share the possibility of taking control of your life. And four, we teach other people how to be a product of the product, share the product, share the opportunity. And the question becomes, in leadership, and it's a difficult term to define because many people define that by rank or income. And I've met some horrific people with large incomes and big titles, and I've met tremendous leaders who have been in the business, 14 minutes and have 2 people on their team, and that's it. But they're great examples. And so I think the question comes back to is, in leadership, what should be your role? And I think that if you step back for a second, if people go back to the method of operation that has now been adopted and refined by Team Legacy, and you always step back to that brand new person, everything needs to be built and designed, and leaders need to always remember that the foundation of who is the most important member of family. Network marketing done properly, your team is like a family. The most important member of the family is a newborn baby because they represent the future of the family. If the family stops giving birth to newborns, at some point the family's destiny is finite and will come to a complete end. So they're the most important. So everything has to center around them. And the reason that we talk about hot market is not so that people go create this huge dynamic financial success. It's because their path has to be one of engage in an action that creates a success, so that it will build confidence and trust, so that now over time, maybe together, if they're willing to do the work, then we can have the time to guide and coach and mentor and help them develop. And so if you step back for a second, it is always about looking for those who are looking. That can never stop. And because we are looking to make an impact in the world, and we do that while at the same time respecting people as men and women, respecting them as adults, and respecting their right to choose. Because we don't change people's lives, they change their own. Our role is to be as impactful a part as we can possibly be of creating an environment where if they choose to do those things that would be necessary for them to create that result for themselves, it's a place that positively supports them to do that. And that has to happen in a couple of ways. One, we have to coach and mentor, but we have to be the example that we speak of, period. You know, how to, again, remember we always said from the beginning, if people go back through all the old trainings, for those when they get started, we need to know as leadership where they're going. You're the parent. You're going to be 21 years old one day, but today you're 2. I can't teach you how to be 19 or 20. I have to teach you how to be 2, but I have to teach you how to be 2 appropriately so you'll be the right 3-year-old. So I can teach you how to be the right 3-year-old so you'll be the best 4-year-old, because I know you're going to be 21 and out on your own someday. I know one day you're going to grow up, find someone, you're going to start your own family, and you're going to be the parent of your family, whatever that looks like. But I know that I need to create methods of operation that are simple, but I need to emulate that. And the thing that we do is we constantly look for more. We don't find a few and then say, I've done my job, now you do what I did. We need to constantly be the example, because we said the way people develop, it's like being a child. They see people talking constantly, and one day they learn to talk. They never see anyone around them stop talking. Therefore, they are able to grow into that naturally, and everyone grows in at a different time. You know, there are those children who start speaking at 8 or 9 months. There are some who say almost nothing for 1.5 years or 2 years, and people want to go down and have them tested. They're just more introverted thinkers and observers, and then when they finally do, it's fine. There are those who walk faster, those who take longer before they begin their first steps. But it's because everybody around them is stepping and nobody stops. And so if we think of the process, if you truly are a servant leader who wants to serve the world, then you need to say that my commitment is I am always on the look for those who, with a simple series of possible conversational questions, I might be able to see. Because remember, we're not in the business of getting people. We don't get people. That's horrific. I got somebody on my team. I hope you did not get them on your team. I hope they were attracted and chose to join your team. Then you did it right, because if you got them now that you're talking to me and have turned your back on them, trust me, it's only been 10 seconds, they're already getting themselves out. But I attracted them. And so if we step back for a second, we've always said that we're always looking for those who are looking. And so if I was gonna break it down to an engineering example, on my first day working with my mentors, I would follow your hot market system. Why? Because that's my engagement with the team, and I do what I'm shown and I follow the process, because now I've got some confidence and trust. I said, okay, great. They told me to do the first step. I did it. It worked. Wow. Okay. I can settle in. They didn't hurt me. They didn't set me up to be embarrassed. They didn't set me up to fail. Wow. They told me that even if I was doubtful, I could do it. They knew that they had the confidence I didn't. Okay, that's great. Let's go. Next thing we talk about is list building. Why do you create a list? Because your list should never end. Why? Because if you've got this confident first experience as you start moving through, because the key is, as you said, we are in the business of looking for those who are looking, but it's not just through the people I know, it's through the people that those who join my team know. And so I realized when I first started, if I create a list, my list is always there for me. They're always there for me. That they're my list. So as I start talking to the people I care about, giving them the giving them the opportunity to gather information to make a choice, not caring what they choose, along the way, some of them are going to choose. And they're going to choose at least the first steps. At which point, if I move them through hot market, those who choose to do it, 100% of them, it works for it 100% of the time. If they follow it 100% exactly the way it's lined out. Do you know of anybody so far in Team Legacy who truly has followed the hot market system with absolute precision, not inflating it, not modifying it, not changing it, but absolutely just sticking to it? Now, some may have moved, 10 units of product and it took 12 people to do it. Some may have used continued, and it took 8 people to do it. Some of them it took 38. But if you, do you know of anybody who truly followed it exactly the way it was and did so relentlessly that has not had success with it?
There's not one. Every single person that's launched and applied that system the way that it was designed has had success.
Exactly. I had a group on another team that they said, well, he spoke to 30 people, only 2 said they would support. I said, then you need to go back because something's happening. That's not right. That there's no way that. And they said, so they went back to him and in detail went through it. And instead of taking less than 60 seconds to present the proposal, he was taking 5 to 8 minutes, because when he got to the product, he was doing a product education dissertation. And so they said, follow the outline exactly as it is. Either a text if you can't shut your mouth, or if you're going to speak, exactly as it is. The next 16 people he spoke to, 12 said yes. So again, if it wasn't working, they weren't following it. And the reason I say that is because then if someone goes through the experience and says yes, what's the first thing we do? We say, well, then bring them into the team. Let us as parents begin that coaching with them. We'll guide them through Hot Market, or you and we will together. But as soon as they have that success, we'll talk to them about creating their list, because see, you have your list. And we've been working it properly according to the system, and you've had 1 or 2 people become a part of the team. Well, since they've made the step, at least right now, they are potentially the right person, because they've taken every step that we're looking for in someone who might potentially be the right person long term. They said, sure, they'd take a look. They took a look. They said, sure, they asked all their questions. They said, sure, I'll do this. They're great. We said, first step is do this and do it. And they did it. We said, great, here's second step. You know, let's make a list, and let's talk about how you identify your list and rate your list. And they did it. In other words, they're doing everything. So rather than leaving them behind to continue through my list, hang on a second, let's start engaging with yours. So I can move mine aside for just a moment, because it's mine. It's going to be there forever. Let's move through yours. I may never come back to mine again, because through yours, all of a sudden, very quickly, we find 3. Now all of us start working on theirs, and it becomes this duplication in depth. Here's my point. When should a leader leave their list? A leader should always be the one who is there to actually be doing as others are doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is attracting people to be informed. Now, in other words, if people will think about why Travis and Summer and why the other leadership in this team, David and Tony and Rob and Tiffany, all these folks, Jay, Craig, all these folks who are becoming part of this elite leadership, all the people who are there. I saw the post that Tony made, you know, going back to the picture we all had right up in Park City, and I saw it the other day, and I thought, God, what I have that photo, you know, in my set of photos, and I love looking back at that thing. Here's the point. Those people who are at the top are there because they have never stopped prospecting 100% of the time, looking for those who are looking, because they truly, as servant leaders, want to go find those. The difference is that Travis isn't at his list, because he is at hundreds of people's lists, because that's why he has to do hangouts. That's why he has to do webinars and conference calls, because he is prospecting. He is assisting in the prospecting for hundreds, as are each of these elite leaders. In other words, leaders need to never stop prospecting. They may not be doing it personally. I may not be going down to Starbucks and meeting with my personal prospect, because my team has earned the right for me to support them. See, great leadership puts efforts where they are deserved, not where they are needed. I need everybody to understand that, because here is the big differentiator between our world, which is a world of opportunity, information, education, understanding, therefore opportunity and choice. It's entirely voluntary. It's not the employment world, where you must show up when I tell you the day starts. You must only eat when I tell you it's allowed, and you may go home when I've told you can't leave before then. If you choose to work late, that's fine. And this is the result that I demand you achieve to continue having the right to be a part of that directed world. And I will only pay you what I decide you're worth, not what you believe yourself to be worth. In that world, you do what I say, and you do it how I say it. It is not a world of choice. It is, yeah, I suppose you could choose to quit, and then you've got to go to employed somewhere else. But once you are in an environment, it's a world where you don't have a great deal of choice. Here, it's all about choice. In that world, then typically management, what you'd call leadership, focuses in those areas that are weakest to strengthen them, because that's where their help is needed. Because the stronger areas are obviously run by people who are, again, enslaved by the environment, are told what they're worth, are told, you know, here's your parameters, you have to play in your box. So you're still the gerbil on the wheel, and that's all great. But since you're already performing at an acceptable level, I don't need to pay any attention to you. You get your quarterly or annual review, you get your 3 to 5% raise. That's all I need to worry about. So keep spinning the wheel. You're doing just fine. I'll leave you alone. But over here, Mary or Fred, they're substandard. I have two choices. I got to focus because that's where the weakness seems to be, and that's where my attention seems to be needed. I've either got to improve it or I've got to terminate them and find somebody else because I can't tolerate that continued weakness. In our world, it's voluntary. So if you're weak, then you're chosen to be, because there are so many around you as leadership who are strong, who are willing to give you their life, because time is life. So if you are willing to put in the effort, then you deserve my help, and I will be there because you are proving to be potentially the right person, because every step you were directed through and coached on and then resource provided and then understood that you felt you knew what you were doing. Great, then let's go do it. In other words, in our world, leadership leads by giving people the opportunity not to fail. Nobody fails until they quit. Giving people the opportunity to not achieve the most desired result. So that from that experience, we can all learn, we can all adapt, adjust, go back at it again. But we can't do it for you. So we're not here to do the work for you. We're here to guide, coach, and mentor and allow you through your own experience to achieve results that may not be what you wanted or desired, and then through that learn and then finally achieve them. But you have to keep going. As a result, where leaders have to focus is with those who are choosing. Well, but you never call me. Well, why would I need to call you? If you wanted it badly enough, why wouldn't you be calling me? Have I ever not taken your call? If I was busy and couldn't take a call, have I ever not returned it? No. Why? Because I lead. And by leadership, I am focusing on those who deserve it, because, you know, without ever calling me or ever needing to be called, every time I give John an instructional step, he not only does it, but goes beyond. And so as a leader, I am proactively going towards John saying, John, let me continue to see how much greater I can help and serve you, because you are accelerating and I don't want to impede your acceleration. So in network marketing, if you step back for a second, our responsibility in terms of leadership is team building, because our responsibility as leaders grow and develop teams by identifying those who are choosing and helping them expose our message so that we can attract more. If I'm going to do a Super Saturday training in Phoenix and I'm going to fly in from Hong Kong to do it, why would I want to do it for only 100 if there could be 1,000? My mouth is going to open, the same noise is going to come out. Why do we need to be in the community center when we could be at a huge hotel ballroom? And why would I want to do it for 1,000 if I could have done it for 10? Why couldn't we be in America West Arena or something? Why? Well, because we just haven't had enough time, or we haven't focused to be able to get those there. That's okay. It has to start somewhere. But if all of us together understand our job is to learn and be informed, educated, and make a choice. And if we've made it and we truly see and believe, and that's what we talked about before, if you truly are belief is not something you do. It's not something you have. It's not something you think. I think I believe. No, you don't. If you're thinking, you don't believe at all. Belief, when you truly believe, it is not something you think. It is who you have become. I believe. I don't ever think about it. It's who I am. When that happens, then that's your job, is to find those who are willing to walk that path to get there, because you need a lot of help to be able to get to all those who are walking the path towards that, and they're doing what needs to be done of their own choice. Therefore, they deserve that level of support. And so the way leaders should lead is, you don't ever get your team to do anything. You don't get people to do anything. You present to them the example of what those who are making the ultimate choices do. You do what those who make those ultimate choices should do, so that others see. Be the parent. Be the person who leads by example. Be the person who makes the right choices. Be the person who leads by serving. Be the person who leads with integrity and honesty. Be the person who out-hustles and outworks everyone else. And when you identify those who are hustling and working, be the person who goes a step further by being there for them as much as you can. Because the technical how-to, that's simple. Great. Go through your phone, A to Z, identify your hot market, send the text, make the call, here's the script. It takes, it's a 3x5 card at 60 seconds. Don't do it with 10, do it with 100. If you've got enough contacts in your phone, do it with 320. Why? There were 320 people who could have been, whose life could have been positively impacted by a simple text message and a simple follow-up by using one of the products you have to offer, and you chose not to. Why? Because you bought 10 in your initial package and I moved the 10, so I'm done. Does that really make sense? Is that someone who's really made a commitment? I'm going to make an impact on the world, the likes of which has never been seen before? Because those are the greatest leaders. The ones who have decided, I don't do the minimum. I didn't buy my package for 10 and I'm going to move 10. I'm going to always go all out all the time. You know, no limitations. I will not limit myself. There are no limits. There's no limits. So I don't care if it took you 4 months because your team started growing, because the minute you moved through your hot market and got your expense back, not a problem. Go into prospecting mode. But if you've only got 10 people who said yes out of the first 15 you contact, you've got 183 on your phone who could have been part of your hot market. What the hell are you doing if you haven't gone through all of them? And now that you have to split your time because I've still got my job, I've got this other thing, I'm prospecting, I'm going into the next mode, I'm going into the next process with my team, data method of operation, but I'm still going to make a commitment. I'm going to send 8 texts a day or 10 texts a day, just 10 more. Why? Because then in 18 days, I will have hit all 183. Well, I have 264. Well, then it's going to be 26 days at 10 a day, whatever it's going to be. In other words, if all the top leadership said, I've been in this profession for 25 years and I actually have close to 1,800 contacts on my phone, and I'll bet you that 900 of them could have been hot market. Great. And why haven't you sent 900 texts? I don't care if it took you a year and a half, because I can only do 5 a day, because I can only be slightly distracted. It's a couple of texts. In other words, leadership is just like anything else. Leadership's a choice. And yes, you have to balance. You got family, you got the other stuff. But the question becomes, if you're going to choose to lead, if your team, if anyone, you have to understand, most people won't do everything. And the truth of the matter is, as I've said before, if there are 1,000 steps to go from start to triple black Hawaiian blue pearl spinning Starfleet Commander Diamond maximum run, whatever it is, if there are 1,000 steps, whoever takes step 1, a majority won't take step 2. Whoever takes step 43, the majority of those who get to there won't go to step 44, because it is their right to choose. It is not mine to impose. This is not a dictatorship. It's really an exampleship. So I'm going to be an example. So the question is, are you always going to be leading as the example, or are you going to work a little bit and then point to other people expecting them to do so that you can sit on your ass and get the result? Leaders lead. And so what is the process? The how-tos are simple. When you know those, leaders lead by automatically engaging with them, and they are prospecting every moment of every day, either through their own direct effort, until there are enough people whose efforts and choices have been such that they deserve to receive the support, so that elite leadership moves into, I'm in constant prospecting mode. But I don't have time for a lot of one-on-ones, because I have so many emerging leaders within my group. They're almost doing the one-on-ones, because I'm doing the one-on-hundreds, because I'm available, I'm traveling, I'm going to the events. I'm spending my money to get on the planes and pay for the hotel rooms, because I am flying in and I am constantly on the road and trying to figure out how I'm going to balance time with my 5 children and my wife and my personal life, which I cannot ignore, because the whole point is that's the most important thing, and I'm trying to create greater freedom for them. And if I do that at the expense of never being a part of them, that's the wrong thing too. So I'm struggling with this balance, so I will do everything I can, but I don't start traveling and flying around, because when I first got started, I was doing all the calls, I was doing the one-on-ones, and I was there doing what I needed to do. And so I simply do it on a grander scale, because I have more and more people who have earned that right, and I need to get to them. But if you step back at your level, and at the level of that key leadership core team that you had in Park City, and some aren't still fully engaged, but so many are. I mean, it's just amazing. I look at the number of people that were there, and I watch the comments, and I take a look at what's going on. The numbers of that group that are still so actively engaged blows my mind, because I mean, you guys really have a core foundation of leadership here in Team Legacy that is exceptional, which is why I always knew, with all the struggles and difficulties and bumps and all the stuff that happens naturally, and then some of the unusual stuff that's happened that's now created, ironically, now that it's all settled out, one of the most powerful opportunities for you guys that I've ever seen. you know, I don't know if you realize this, I'm sure you guys do, that you guys are now a part of an environment that 2 months ago did $78 million and last month did 120. Now, let's keep that in mind, okay? 2 months ago, it was just under the $1 billion a year run rate, and 30 days later, it's a $1.5 billion a year run rate in 30 days. So you're in the right place. And I look at that core leadership, but it comes back to this. We lead by taking those newborns through steps until one day it dawns on them. Just as we speak in front of our, just as, you know, we, by example with our children, we say what we're going to do and we do what we say because we're teaching them by example. We don't have to sit down and tell them. They see by example that your word and fulfilling with honor your commitment is how you live your life. I don't need to sit down and say, by the way, it's important. They see that's who I am. You know, I see that my children see that when I do something incorrectly and I do something wrong, I stand up and I accept responsibility. I go apologize where it's necessary. I stand up and I accept the consequences because as a grown man or grown woman, as a mother or father, that's what I do. Well, you do those things and your team sees that. And so, but they, you know, a child isn't that. I know where you're going, but I know how I have to get you there. And so I know that if you choose the path all the way to elite leadership, I know that at leadership level, 100% of our focus is on growing a team, because the growth of a team doesn't mean more income. It means so many more people who have been given an opportunity to choose, if they so wish, to walk a path, if they choose to walk it long enough, where they can give those they love and care about the most the same things I'm now able to give mine. I'm not here to do it for them, and I'm not going to direct them. I'm not going to tell them to do it. I'm going to give them guidance by example. I'm going to coach those I'm going to give general coaching to everyone, because the first steps are so simple. It's not the great result. It's seeing that you're the kind of person who, if guided, will choose. And then focusing my efforts where it's deserved, not where it's needed, because needed is the traditional role, deserved is this. And so, you know, people say, well, my leader never calls me. Well, you're probably not doing the things that are necessary to deserve it, because they have to give time to those who have earned it and deserve it by the choices they've made. Simply make different choices and they will all engage with you. And so I think that's the perspective. And there's just we you know, it just goes back to it's all about the list. And so we start with our own, we move through it. When people say yes, engage with them. When someone says yes, engage with them. Don't leave them to tell them, okay, do this and I'll see you later, I'm gonna keep going. Engage with them as long as they keep choosing. In other words, leadership is, as long as you keep choosing, I'm gonna keep, you know, I'm here for you. I lead by example. As long as you keep choosing, you can sign up, and it may be that, you know, Travis, am working with you in group, but trust me, your choices are such that through the leadership mechanism, everyone's going to know, because the simple basics that you can almost execute on your own. But as you execute each step, more and more people are seeing, and if you keep choosing, you are automatically going to get the engagement. So that's really leadership. That's leadership. Just leaders are always looking to grow the team so we can expose the message of personal freedom and true freedom to those. And then we lead by example. And so, and when we're getting groups that are stumbling, I've had people say, well, my group's not doing what they need to do. Your group is never supposed to do anything but what they choose to do. What are you choosing to do? You know, there's never a problem that a new person doesn't solve, because the new person who says yes may become that triple spinning backflip diamond or whatever it is. And so I think that's just the perspective. We sometimes it's natural that for many people, as they've done some, that they try to point and get others to do, rather than realizing at no time should you stop simply being the example. Because if you have so many people at the level of some of this top leadership, and when I say top leadership, I don't mean that they're at the top and you're at the bottom. What I mean is, at this level of leadership where you have such a large engaged team, what they should be seeing is that if they're doing the work, you are there for them. That then permeates down. And if people start to get stuck, then you go back and you say, well, what are you doing? Don't tell me your team is stuck, because your entire team has the right to choose to do nothing tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, and the next. They're adults. It is their right to choose. And if they all simultaneously tomorrow choose to do nothing, the simple question is, what the hell does that have to do with your choice? Because what is your choice? Because the only thing that matters is, what is your choice? Well, then I guess I will start prospecting new people tomorrow. I think that's a good choice. I think that's the right choice. And I think that's the best choice. So there you go. I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. You know.
I love it. I love it. Well, if there is anybody on the line that has a question for Mr. Curtis Broome, we've probably got time for maybe one question, two questions in relation to the topic of leadership that we're talking about tonight. We've got the Q&A enabled. So are there anyone out there have any questions that they'd like to ask Curtis specifically? What's going on over in Hong Kong, brother?
Well, it's beautiful weather. We're having a great time. You know, we've at least I've got a project over here that we've launched, and it's just in Greater China, which is fun for us. We first came here about, oh gosh, 14 years ago, and first started doing business here, and it's a fun world. It's a fun world where you know, you don't speak the language, but everybody speaks the same heart. It's one of the things you learn when you go internationally. All of us, day we were held in their arms, they realized, oop, it's not about me, it's about you. And then we all become parents, and the day you look at your child, you realize, oops, it's not about me, it's about you. And that is the unifying, that is truly the unifying human condition and true human experience across all ethnic backgrounds. It makes no difference the color of one's skin, the political or religious philosophy. It's really the language that we speak. It's really irrelevant. In every place in the world, when you break it down, that's the fundamental driving force of the human condition. And so being able to directly, if you speak the language, or indirectly through great interpretation, just being able to say that we're here simply for the purpose of seeing if we can help you make the kind of choices that allow you to create a better world tomorrow than you had yesterday for those who are more important to you. It just works.
I love it.
So yeah, so it's a ton of fun, and that's what's going to be fun, you know, for you guys. I know you're now beginning to see those same things, and in the environment that now this team has found itself in, the ability to have open season on the planet Earth, it's going to be a ton of fun. You know, it'll just grow organically. So yeah, just over here having a good time.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it doesn't look like we have any questions tonight. I want to remind all those that are tuning in this evening. Number one, we've got Jeunesse University coming up here at the end of July, and I'm sure Curtis would agree that you never miss an event, right, Curtis?
No. And here's the thing about events. Make sure you're well rested before you go in. Let me tell you a couple things you want to do besides participating and making sure you're always in the room and paying attention. The number one greatest thing that you can do at events, if you wish to rise to the elite levels of leadership, there are three things that the best leaders are phenomenally outstanding at. Number one, not presentation, but conversation. Number two, you know, and by conversation, engaging with somebody, connecting, and primarily asking questions. That's asking questions of others where connection really takes place. Number two, they're masters of listening to the answers to the questions that they've asked, because they're focusing on the other person. And number three, they are masters of telling stories, theirs and the stories of others. The most important thing you should ever do when you go into, the reason you should be at every single event, no matter how far you have to drive, how far you have to fly, how hard you have to work, or what sacrifice you have to make to be there, is because it is that moment where the greatest number of people who are like-minded, they not only believe in the entrepreneurial spirit and love and have passion for the concept of success through team building and success through helping others succeed, but they have a perfectly aligned passion because they're in the same company you're in. The number one reason you need to be there is with a blank journal and a pen to gather as many stories as you can. Because it not only to learn and to listen to what you hear on the stage, but to also learn and listen in the meetings after the meetings between the meetings, going and the reason I say you need to be well rested, because you will find top leadership who just gather together because they haven't seen each other in a while, and they'll be sitting in the lobby bar, or they'll be hanging out someplace, and they're hanging in the hallway and during the breaks and stuff, and they're just talking, and you can see it because suddenly a little growing crowd of bodies will be standing there. Those opportunities are absolutely some of the greatest education, and they're PhDs in moments. They're so invaluable. But the other thing is, you have an opportunity, if you keep your eyes and ears open and pay attention, to walk up to hundreds and eventually potentially even thousands of people and say, I overheard something, and hi, my name's Curtis, here's where I'm from. Would you share your story again, because it was amazing? And we've talked about how to construct your story. Maybe we'll do it again real quick just before that event, because it's not just your story, but some people who have built gigantic teams, like the Jim Fauberts of the world, who's built 2 multi-million person teams and is in the process of building the 3rd in his career. He is a master of stories. You could probably say, I bet he's got 1,000, 1,500 stories over his career about how this business has helped people. But the reason is, it's about being able to relate. So when you're talking with somebody and focusing on them, and they're a recently divorced single mother, and you're a university professor, but you've got a story of someone who was in a similar situation, or they're a truck driver and you're not, someone who was, or they're an attorney and you are, so you've got your story. The most magical thing you can do at events is meet as many people as you can, finding out their name, where they're from, what their occupation was prior to, or what their physical circumstance was prior to engaging with the products, what has been the result in products, or what has been the result in the business, and filing that away, because the masters of our profession have the repertoires of the largest number of stories of others, because in conversation, when you can point people to things that they will be able to more relate to than even you personally, that's when you're amazing. Anyone, I don't care if it's a super Saturday and there's going to be 40 people there. It's more than the nobody who hangs out at your home office but you. Anytime there is an opportunity to gather for an event, Tuesday night meeting, a super Saturday training, a webinar, whatever it is, and have your journal of stories that you can start filling, and to miss that is literally, it could cost you an immeasurable amount of value long term. So always be at those events. There's no greater time to do one of the most powerful things in networking, and that's to network.
Outstanding. Curtis, we know that you've got a busy day ahead of you, and it is so good to hear you.
Yeah, it turns out it's so good that you finally get to hear me. I should have last week. We should have figured it out. Said, hey, Travis, just don't worry about it. Have a seat. I'm going to go figure it out.
Yeah, I guess the earbuds just are working on my computer. But hey, you know what? We got to figure it out. So, anyways, thanks for that. We appreciate you. Lots of exciting things going on. You saw the announcements today. Incredible momentum, incredible growth. And I'll just close by saying to everybody that's watching, what we're seeing right now with this company is something that really the industry has never seen before. This type of growth, this type of momentum, 18 countries, over $1 million per month. And truthfully, it's the type of momentum that every network marketer prays to have, and we now have it. Would you not agree, Curtis? I'm going to give you the last word on that.
Yeah. I mean, there are some really big companies out there that have that type of activity, but that's because they've been around for 40, 50 years. You're talking about a young company that's going through an explosive momentum. The opportunities that are sitting here for all of you at this moment in time truly are extraordinary. They happen so rarely. It will happen again with somebody somewhere in the future. I have no idea where that's going to come from. It has happened in the past, but those companies have experienced that, and that time has been, that's recorded in the history books for them. This is the company that is doing it right now, and you're right here. I mean, if you just enrolled today is your first day and you know nothing about anything, great. Engage with Team Legacy, follow the processes. You really do. You have no idea how fortunate you are to be at this moment in time, because there are some of us who have been in this profession for 25 years, and this is the first time we've actually been able to see it happening live. It's a great time to be where you are. Be thankful for it, and whatever you do, do not sit on it. Go run with it and shout it out to the world at the top of your lungs, as hard and as fast as you can.
Mr. Curtis Broome, thank you very much. We appreciate you, brother.
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
All right.
Say hi to the gang. Yep.
All right.